Welcome to Castor. When starting a software engineering project, there are a few tasks that you should do. You should do requirements gathering and start a design. We provide the user with a requirements MD, which they could create, and a design MD. Every starter project has a validation schema. The validation schema provides linting for the requirements and design MD to make sure it follows the format that they specify, which allows the dev to have flexibility in how they want to define the requirements and designs. I'm going to start off an example project. I'm going to ask the DAM agent to write the requirements and designs for a multiplayer online tic-tac-toe game. So the DAM agent, I could either write these requirements myself or I could use the agent on my behalf to write them for me. But it will follow this template nonetheless. And if it makes some mistakes, um, linting will be invoked. It also has the option and chance actually to correct its own mistakes. So the DAM agent gave a design MD for the project that we want to start. I could read it over. I could make edits if I would like. But I'm going to ask it to generate me the requirements based on these designs. All right, so the agent broke down the requirements in the form of use cases, which I specified in my validation schema, and gave me a bunch of use cases and some to-dos on specific things that I wasn't sure about. I could choose to fill these in, or I could, if I like them, I could move on to the domain model. So based on my requirements and designs, I'll ask the DAM agent to generate me the domain model. And after this, I'll move on to the implementation phase. Unfortunately, we got rate limited during some of our tool calls, but there are many use cases, and I asked it to generate it all at once. So basically, right now, what it created was an intermediate representation of my domain model. And to view it, I could click the sync button, and it will generate me my diagram. So by clicking sync, I will now have my app domain Castor. And I don't think it got a chance to create methods, but it created the associations and the domain concepts. So from here, I could edit my designs, and they really represent my requirements and my design MD. And I could edit these diagrams. However, moving forward into class diagrams and ERD diagrams, I could generate code. So Castor is based off of, it is meant for Nest.js backend projects. So I'm going to create a source directory. So within my domain model, I have a player and a player profile. Let's say I want to represent these in terms of a ERD diagram. So to do my database design, I could create a new folder for my Nest project called player. I'm going to create a player.entity.ts, which is how we declare entities in Nest.js. I could take an example user entity. I'll rename it player. I could click save and sync, and I'll have my player entity in my player.erd.caster profile. Let's create that. So I'm going to go new file, player underscore profile dot entity dot ts. I'm going to create a new player profile, player profile, and let's say they have a username, ensure ID. Let's sync. I'm going to go into my ERD here, and I'll have my player profile. Save and sync. Now, let's say every player has a player profile. So I could do association. Every player is associated with one player profile. I could click save and sync. And then now I have a one-to-one join column for player profile with player, and then same for player. So this is how associations work and how we could go from diagram to code and code to diagram. Now, for example, if I create a new file called player.controller.ts, which represents Nest.js controllers, let's say I wanted to create a new controller. I could import controllers from Nest.js, and let's say I want to be able to get all players. So export class player controller, get, say get, let's have a method get all for players, and it's going to return a string. Let's say it'll return this gets all players. So let's save this. Let's click sync. And now I have a player.class.caster, which represents my class diagram with my player controller. I could add a new method, let's say to get say get all profiles, for example. This gets all player profiles. I could sync, and I have within here get all profiles. I could also choose to add methods through the diagram editor, and sync. And then I have a new method with a to-do implementation for the business logic. This showcases how Nest.js concepts relate to both class and ERD diagrams, and how users could use basically go through the design phase, the requirements gathering, and then go through implementation with sync, and how it could aid them to develop their project.